Hello and welcome back to the Self Rugby Podcast. Pleased to announce we've got the two usuals in the studio, Zach and Harvey. How are you, boys?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this one. I'm ready.
I'm doing very well. We've been teasing this in previous recordings, but
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this a lot. It's gonna be good to see what everyone says, and
It'll be a good time.
let's get into it.
On YouTube too. Got my Middlesex top on, looking presentable. I don't actually support Middlesex, but they're the only county that has the nicest cricket kit. So
We're not fully decided if this is gonna be audio or video yet. We'll see. But
okay.
Either way, they now have a beautiful description of Zach. So
Yes, I'm wearing a Middlesex training top. Shout out to Owen Morgan.
So this pod is
Best
just
in the IPL.
this pod is probably like a 2-hour review about England coming fifth in the Six Nations, and we're just gonna jump into all the different topics behind it. I'm only joking, Harvey.
In theory, well, it's no longer going on YouTube, but in theory, for the audience, Harvey did something.
made a profanity.
In some ways, though, this does come back to England. Well, in my squad selection anyway, it comes back to England's performance. So in some ways, it all comes back to Eddie Jones.
But yeah,
I think it's going to some degree it will, because we would center it before and now we're not. So yeah, simply put, that's what it is.
But to all listeners, you've seen by the
It is what it
title,
is.
you've seen by all. This is our Lions preview, our squads. We've jotted our squads down. We're going to run through them now. So, boys, do you want to start with your number ones, proppies? What three? We're going to take three, obviously, from both sides. So, my ones, just to start off.
Okay, he's confident. He's going first. All right.
Mako, Vunipola, Wyn Jones, and Cian Healy.
Oh, we did go for Cian Healy. I was waiting for that. Waiting for that.
I've got my reasoning on Cian Healy. Do you want to hear now, or
Yeah.
just don't be changing your teams based on this? But for me, I think Leinster will win the European Cup. Cian Healy will be at the forefront of that, and he will just edge Rory Sutherland. Sutherland's just got injured. He went off there injured in Paris. Might be a few weeks out, whereas Cian Healy's going to build momentum. And I think that pick's just going to be based off momentum. But right now, Healy and Sutherland is 50-50. Depends what Gatlin wants.
Fair dues.
So that's okay. Yeah, I mean, so you're very much basing Healy on prediction rather than current form. So you're predicting that Leinster's going to go far and he's going to go far with them. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 50-50, and Healy will just edge it because of the profile of games that he's playing going right up to the Lions tier.
Okay, it's respectable. That's a respectable decision making. I think, yeah, it doesn't really seem to be any other big problems.
Zach, what have you fired for?
I've gone Wyn Jones. I've gone Mako, Vunipola, and Cian Healy.
Ooh.
So, Telf, we're matching. Wyn Jones, because, I mean, incredible Six Nations. For me, he's massive. Also, if you're interested on the BBC Sport fans, the kind of voted for their players, and he was number one. So I think go ahead. I think I was going to give it to Rory Sutherland, but just because of the injury, I'm kind of like, don't know. Yeah, Mako Vunipola will be one of the few England players.
I've gone in mine, Wyn Jones, Mako, and I've gone Rory Sutherland.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone for Rory.
I'm saying he's bouncing back. This Six Nations has been all about bouncing back from injury, proving that you are a quality player, and Rory Sutherland is a quality player. In my opinion, he's going.
There's no arguments there. Like, it's 50-50 between him and Healy. Do you agree they're the last spot, or do you think Mako's within doubt and you can maybe see Healy, Sutherland, and
I think before the Six Nations, Mako is a dead set, obviously. During the Six Nations, I think he has shown his age more than he ever has before. I think particularly in the scrum, a lot of slipping, a lot of just losing the battle, which is something that he's been known for. And I think that's a worry, particularly because we've got to base this whole team off the fact we are playing South Africa. As much as it's like, oh, we want all our favorite players there, it's still a competitive match. You have to play the team you're playing. And we're playing South Africa, who are a scrum king.
That's fair.
So I'm going.
I think actually at this point we should acknowledge what sort of style alliance squad are we going for? Are we just going for people who we think are at the moment best players, or maybe not playing the best, but also like huge pedigree behind them? Or are we going for this is a team to win in South Africa? Because Harvey, you've made it clear that's your kind of approach. Tell us what's your approach.
It's the only way I can get my England players in. That's why.
My approach is a little bit of everything, but real Gatland head on me. Thinking.
Okay, so you're going for the Gatland head. So you're going with head rather than heart.
You'll see by my starting team really how I've gone Gatland head.
Okay.
Rather than hype, but
Interesting.
I've it's a bit of everything. I feel you have to take a bit of everything into consideration, but if you picked it just based on current form, you can have a weird Lions tour because for me, what sums it up is Marotoji was outstanding against France, and a week later he was absent. You just can't then not put him in a Lions team. Like you have to, as Harvey said, base it over an extended period of time. But we'll get on to the Saris boys, I'm sure, later down the line. Because that is just a different debate entirely. Will they play enough?
Do we want to go over to the other side now? Talk about the threes?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Harvey, who were your ones again? Sorry, I'm just taking
My ones were Wyn Jones, Maka Venipola, and Rory Sutherland.
Venipola, Cian Healy left out. Interesting.
Yeah, I'll start this one.
Threes.
For me, I would put every single penny that I have in my bank account on Furlong and Sinclair both going.
I would agree with you.
I think that's pretty spot on.
And the third one, I'm sticking. I said it after the Nations Cup, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to go Andrew Porter. You need someone that can play. He can play both sides, which is a real positive, which puts him in there. And based on his actual performances, he's good enough as number 3. You seen Leinster in the final there against Munster started him ahead of Furlong because they can, because he is not on Furlong's level, but not many are. But he's right up there, and I think I look around at the others, and he's still, though he might not start for Ireland, he has been starting for Ireland. Him and Furlong have been in and out, and I think he deserves it. And his versatility playing both sides, I think, is the final nail in the coffin to get him in.
Fair enough. That's a good point. Just for the listeners, Tag Furlong got 80% of the vote on the BBC website for the starting Lions team. 80%. To put in comparison, we all said Wyn Jones got number 1, and he only got 26%. So for the other side, that's, I think,
the viral stepping has gone everywhere. And
yeah, like if you're Warren Gatland,
heads.
I know we haven't said starting teams yet, but like Tag Furlong is.
Well, he's the best scrummager, and he's the best ball in hand, and he's the best.
He's the best prop.
I think it was a case of everyone knew Tag was the best, but we just wanted to see how he would bounce back from this injury. And you've seen him in the Six Nations, and he's just gone.
He sidestepped Finn Russell.
And and I think that's the key thing. Finn
Russell. It's just mental. Like, I've got Tag Furlong. I've gone for Kyle Sinclair. And I'm on the fence. But I'm gonna go for Xander Fagerson.
Ooh.
I think, even though obviously he had that red against Wales and stuff, but he's a good player. He's on the up with Scotland. He gets my ticket.
I've actually agreed with Zach as well. Hey. I've gone Xander Fagerson as well. I think, like Telf said, first two are shooing. Xander Fagerson nicks it for me. Just a proper brute. I think it's one of those where we obviously want to dilly-dally on the differences we've got, but ultimately I'd still put him as my third choice prop in that situation. So it doesn't matter too much. But I think
he's playing the Bills and the Stormers.
Which is why I'm putting in Porter, because if you do have a crisis, and he will always be your third choice prop.
But what are the? Yeah, I guess.
Play both sides in event of emergency. Harvey, you seen the Ulster?
I don't think you need it. I think it's one of those where I do appreciate versatility, particularly I think as you get further back in the field. But I think at such a specialist role at front row, it doesn't matter to me too much about if you can play both sides. I don't think it matters that much. For me, I think you just take the three best, and in my opinion, three best are with Xander Fagerson. But yeah,
but I think Porter's fair enough, just based on ability.
No, yeah, 100%.
I'll give you it because it's smart and it's something, that's a very Gatland approach to it. But I think we're obviously going for a 36-man squad. I still think if it was a 41-man squad that he brought to New Zealand, I still think he would only have 3 props in each position. So I think in that case, I think versatility doesn't much matter as much. So yeah, who wants to go for hookers then?
I'll go first on my hookers. I'll go first. So this is where you can kind of see what I'm talking about in terms of I'm picking class rather than
Oh wow,
form.
So Jimmy
but no,
George,
I'm going Ken Owens, the sheriff, Jamie George, and Luke Cowan-Dickie. They're my 3. Personally, I think from the Ireland and the Scotland camp, they haven't been able to decide themselves who their hooker is. So I don't think you can qualify
Sherry?
them.
He was in there in top try scores, 3 tries.
Yeah, Sherry got 2 in against Italy, or whatever it was.
And France.
Dave Sherry, you're a good lad, but I'm sorry. You're not coming on the Lions tour, in my opinion. George Turner, decent. Rob Herring, very good player. But if you can't pick in your own side, I don't know. I know we'll get on to players who play their international who might go to the Lions tour, but for me, those 3. I think Jamie George is probably my 3rd choice out of those 3. And I take Jamie George for his experience, for his class. Don't get me wrong, he's had not the greatest Six Nations. He hasn't really featured that much, but he is a world-class player still, and I think his experience will help. So
play well against Richmond there. Play well against Richmond, that's important. No, the fact
he can't help that, right? He can't help that.
I do
like. Got a solid 5 minutes.
I like how they play against Richmond straight after Six Nations. So I
think they've learned. I think honestly, they've come out of the Six Nations and gone, God, we were rusty, and they're actually going to start playing now.
But is it enough? Because they're only going to play Ealing Trailfinders at least once, maybe twice. There's no guarantee they're making the playoff. So my hookers are the sheriff, Mr. Owens. He's just class. He just uses class, and he's Welsh. Gatland's
the only standout hooker. The Six Nations.
I think he is the only standout hooker. Yeah. Part of it is because he came back from injury and came back so strong and just slotted into that Welsh side and was he's a talisman figure in that Welsh side as well, which obviously will play on Gatland's mind. I've gone for Luke Cowan-Dickie just to show my Exeter bias, get it out early doors. And to show my Ireland bias, I've gone for Rob Herring.
He's done it.
I knew he would. I knew
it. Jamie George, this is going to be a theme in my squad, as we'll see over the next wee while. But Six Nations proven that Sarries players who aren't playing aren't good enough. And it's not because they're not good players, it's just because they don't have game time under their belts. And for me, I think Gatland's head will be they need game time, especially Europe. For example, Cian Healy gets in, say over a Mako Vunipola because Leinster inevitably are going to go far again in the European competition, and they're playing South African sides as well. Something else to consider. So that's my reasoning for Luke Cowan-Dickie, because also Exeter, they're going to go far. He's going to be a major part of that. And Rob Herring, just because he's better than Keller.
Ulster.
I mean, it's a natural bias. Come on.
I think what's something
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with your selection whatsoever.
I think Keller's been really good in the Six Nations, but it's just the same problem with him that is throwing.
He just can't throw. He just can't throw.
In that game against Leinster in the Pro 14 final, he literally ran about 50-meter line break, and then the next line out he threw it squint. So there's no doubt in terms of ball carrying, he would go on the Lions tour, but
he's a hooker, and his kind of main thing is to throw.
So ball carrying would get him on, but for me, Zach, I like that. I think it is.
So Telford, can I guess yours?
Yep.
Ken Owens.
Yep.
Luke Cowan-Dickie.
Yep.
And Rob Herring.
I haven't gone Herring.
No.
Ooh.
Tell us more.
I've gone Jimmy George because
really?
I respect it.
Because
wow, interesting.
Not because he's playing well, but because Herring's not done enough. He had every hooker's had an opportunity now if George being rusty, but I think Jimmy George is still better than Rob Herring. right now, which is annoying because the gap's open there with them, and you'll see down my list a lot of the other Saracens boys who might have gone are not going now because of it. But I think George just didn't have that competition there because Kelleher started a few games, Herring started a few games. Herring didn't really make it his own like he should have done. But I wouldn't be surprised if Herring goes ahead of George, but I've just gone. But even at that, Cowan-Dickie has really made the England shirt his own, which is another reason why I'm still
I
going
think you take
George.
Jamie.
Is because Cowan-Dickie
fair.
and George
fair.
have kind of shared the game time, both like even power. So if you're taking Cowan-Dickie, you kind of have to take George because Cowan-Dickie's not out and out first choice. If it's an England game tomorrow, is Cowan-Dickie 100% starting? Probably
Yeah.
not. So that's why I've gone George. But he's lucky boy, and he's not starting now because of his perform. Which
Yeah.
so it's
Who's
not
you-
all.
He was before.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. Who would you? So Harvey said that George is third choice, and obviously the way it works, you need a full front three on the bench. Is Jamie George on the bench, or do you want to get into that? Because he's not for Harvey. Like for me, Rob Herring's my third choice. He's playing against the Bills, basically.
Jimmy George is on my bench
Okay.
because of his darts. If he's coming on last 20, he'll be safe.
He's an impact player.
He won't
I'll give you
put
that.
a foot wrong in the last 20, put it that way. And he's, like you said, he's a really good player.
And
all round, really.
I think that spot will come throughout the tour. Who's playing better up to the test matches? I know they haven't got many games, but like against Japan and stuff, whoever stands out, that's up for grabs. Definitely that. But I think we'll obviously discuss later on. But the Sheriff really is in pole position.
Yeah.
As a preface as well to the listeners out there, you probably have realized this already, but we don't know each other's squads. We're not recording this having known each other's squads, so we're getting these live reactions are us actually realizing what people have done and being like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. So moving on to second rows. How many second rows are you taking? Harvey's gone for 5.
I'm taking 5, yeah.
5.
I'm going for 4.
5.5. I'm taking 5.5.
A lot of them are debatable.
Yeah, so I'm taking between the second rows and the back rows, I'm going for a 4-6 split. I'll start with my second rows then. I'm going to go for Big Alan Wynn. I don't know if I want to talk about captains now, but for me, he is captain. Mauro Itoje, he just gets in because he has a bad game and he's still unreal. Ian Henderson and James Ryan. Those are my boys. I could maybe understand Ian Henderson being a wee bit questionable. In some places, James Ryan's just unlucky because for me he was starting in my squad at
Do
Christmas.
you think he'll
before
be similar
Alan
to Healy? Big European run, getting back in the mix?
Nah, Alan Wynne Jones has proven enough that he
No, but
is
like
just...
for a squad, because
a squad. Oh, right. No, I think James Ryan for me is definitely on the bench. Like he's in the 23-man squad. It's just for him, Alan Wynne Jones is just a machine. He's a demigod. Like so.
I'll lead on from that, Zach, because I have an interesting thing about Henderson myself. I'm taking Henderson, and the thing about Hendo is I think he's not just. I think Hendo's going to find a way into the 23 even. I think I'm willing to put a big wager on the line that Henderson goes. I think he 100% goes in Lions tour because of his physicality. Out of those second rows, in terms of physicality, defense, just being a nuisance, Hendo has to go. Line out collar as well has to go. I don't think Henderson is up for debate, to be honest. I think Henderson is 100% going. Click that up and put it up when he doesn't go, but I am extremely confident he goes, and he's the only Ulster player I think that now goes, but I really don't think, Zach, I think you've done him an injustice there. I think he does 100% go.
I was trying to be modest,
No, Hendo 100% goes, and I think Henderson plays a big role in the series.
Okay. So Hendo fuses kind of impact off the bench kind of guy.
Yeah, and if Itoje doesn't pick up his form, he could easily start. I think Henderson's got a big role to play.
Well, it depends how Itoje plays against Doncaster, so we'll see.
In my second rows, I've gone Alan Wynne Jones, Mauro Itoje, James Ryan, Tide Burn. I've taken 5. And
you're taking him as a second row and not a back row.
yeah, and
Interesting.
then I will explain my fifth choice. I have gone Ian Henderson, but
no.
it was a very tight toss-up between him and Johnny Gray.
Oh,
I was
fair enough.
deliberating it. I think before this Six Nations, I was going Johnny Gray as a specialist, just proper, out and out, solid second row. But I think Hendo, this Six Nations, has had a really, really, really good set. He's got a chance to potentially prove himself in the Challenge Cup. You never know.
Never know.
And I think, like Telf said, his experience, his line-out calling, just the nuts and bolts of Ian Henderson are, they're not rusty. They are stainless steel, solid stuff. And that man, I think I don't know if he'll play as big of a role as what Telf said, but I think he's going to definitely go on the tour.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if Henderson didn't have such a good Six Nations, Johnny Gray probably goes. But then again, you got to remember Johnny Gray playing for Exeter. Exeter could go far in Europe.
I think, see, like, my logic is, I'll say mine as well. So I'm going.
Who'd you go for?
I go Hendo, Tyke Byrne as a second row. I think he plays second row for Munster. He'll be playing.
He's my
second,
5.5.
He'll be playing second row now from all in. That's why I'm taking him second row. But obviously, he can play six. So Hendo, Tyke Byrne, and then Alan Wynne-Jones, Itoje, and James Ryan. And Johnny Gray is the one that we need to discuss as well, because he was the one, Human and Han, and I think Tyke Byrne's the reason that he probably doesn't go now because of his ability to play six.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm excited to get onto the back row actually, because
Do you need an out second row like Johnny Gray if you know
you don't
properly
need
four solids there?
Yeah, you don't need Johnny Gray because you have Alan and Jones, you have Itoje, you have Ryan, who are three better quality second rows. And you can even throw Byrne and Henderson in there. They're still quality second rows in their own right. They may not be specialists and they're versatile, but Johnny Gray is just unlucky that there's better players than him.
And I think as well, Leinster will beat Exeter in the quarterfinal of the European Cup, and then Johnny Gray.
It's true. That's a good point. Didn't even think about that. That's such a good point. That changes it. Yeah, Johnny Gray's not going. Sorry.
But I think that six ability puts Byrne and Hendo ahead of Johnny Gray. But it's tough. Well, Byrne goes on merit at the minute, and there's no doubt Byrne, I think, was it 2 games in second row, 3 games second row, 2 games six. So like he's pretty much both. So you said Harvey's a 5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Gray's the interesting one. All it takes is a few big performances for Exeter, because we're not ruling out a Premiership. So if he wins the Premiership, still got
Exeter are going funny in the Premiership at the moment. They're not quite clicking, but kind of business end of the season, coming up against Bristol, probably in you're looking at an Exeter Bristol final at the moment. That's gonna be fascinating to watch. Big game performance. You just never know. You never know about these things. So in terms of back row, I'm gonna start.
Has anyone done it? First of all, we'll see. Has anyone done it and picked someone that everyone's talking about? Sam Simmons.
Just Telford, don't you worry.
Let's let Zach announce his squad.
So I've gone, as I said, I went for 4-6 split. I've put Tyke Byrne in with the boys in the back row. I think he's quality. He's quality. I mean, he got 33% of the vote in the BBC. Not that I'm going by what other people said, but he got 33% of the vote. Tom Curry was next in line at 6 with 14%. Josh Navidi only got 10%. So I'm going to go Tyke Byrne. I'm going to go Faletau. I'm going to go Tom Curry. I'm going to go Hamish Watson. He does gain animal. CJ Stander. And Sam Simmons.
You've done it.
Wow.
He was always going. He was going at Christmas and he's going now. It doesn't matter. If anything, it's helped the fact that England suck.
I listened back to our preview and we talked about it after the Up Nations Cup, and we were talking about potentially Sam Simmons going. So that shows how far he's held his form.
Yeah, and he's still like, obviously the past couple of weeks, the Premiership doesn't get a lot of talking about because Six Nations is on. Everyone's focusing on the internationals, but he's put in some quality performances, and Exeter, he's been like the talisman in some of Exeter's massive games, coming back against the Quins, coming close against just beating Bath. Like he's had some big game moments. He's got to go. It's happened before in the Lions. Hugo Monya, it's got to happen again.
Christian Wade.
Yep, Christian Wade, another great example. So for me, I'm taking 6 back rows.
No Billy Vunipola then.
Yes, that's obviously the big one.
Straight shootout, Salmon Simmons and Billy Vunipola, and Simmons got nod for you.
For me, I was actually going to put Simmons at 6.
We'll get on to starting teams.
sorry, but like no, for me, Simmons isn't going to start. But Simmons comes off the bench. I think the key is the versatility of Simmons gives him the nod over Billy, because you could argue it's between Billy and the Simmons can play. He can play anywhere in the back row. And for me, if you picture in your head, for me, Toby Faletau starts. So for me, picturing in your head, right? Last 15 minutes against South Africa, you're 5 points up, but you need to keep up the intensity. Billy Vunipola's coming on. You're like, nah, he's just not going to do that for you. But Sam Simmons will.
It's not even a question, I think, Billy Vunipola anymore.
No,
in terms of his ability on the pitch, he can't even be questioned to come off the bench. There's a lot better options out there.
He needs to prove himself, and he's not going to be able to do that because he's playing against Doncaster in 2 weeks. They're playing Bedford Blues at the weekend. So, yeah, sorry, Billy. Unlucky, mate.
Do you think if this salary cap didn't happen, Vunipola would easily be on? Do you think
easy?
But that's
I think the entire Saracen spine would be on the Lions tour if it wasn't for the salary cap.
Probably starting in the Lions tour at this rate.
Yeah,
but
100%. And now not even 50% of them again.
Yep, that's
let alone in starting 15, in my opinion, anyway.
No, I think you're bang on.
On that note, I'll list my back rows. I've gone Watson, Curry, Navidi, CJ, Talupe, and Kalen Doris. Big.
Wow.
A similar.
I'm gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Really, Kalen Doris. You really think Kalen Doris goes?
Are you going a similar narrative in terms of Leinster go far? He comes back to fitness.
What if Leinster don't go far?
Kalen Doris is going.
Really?
To me, it was between him and Billy.
Really, that was between those two. Interesting. No Sam Simmons?
No. Sam Simmons wasn't even in the question for me.
Did you have CJ?
Why do you
Yeah, I had CJ.
Okay, yeah, for me, CJ Stander.
A lot of hybrids in there. A lot of players that can play pretty much everywhere.
CJ, I'll be target. I'll tell you that. South Africa.
But yeah, that's my back rows.
You're not taking. Oh, you are taking Tabburn. Never mind. I was like, what?
Taking Tyburn as a
okay,
thing.
that's fair.
But I've gone 5-6, and then I'm gonna compensate later down the line.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say. Self, let's hear it.
Forwards heavy.
I'm excited for this.
It's quite interesting you are saying what you're doing, because with you, Zach, for example, you could easily been 5-5, but you just seen Tyburn as a 6. So it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. I know this is just more like to provide a framework and a structure for the listeners, but Tagburn, he's going. That's the main thing, I think.
Well, I've gone 5-6, so I have got one extra one in there, which you'll see.
Yeah, that's
fall short.
Explain your reasoning for that, then, Harvey. Do you think
we're playing as much as what I said earlier? We're playing South Africa. I think forwards heavy is the way to go. I think as much as the backs are still going to have a huge impact in the game, obviously. You'll see later down the line with my starting lineup, and particularly my bench, I'm going for a 6-2 split. So in that sense, more forwards.
Right. Okay. So you are okay. That's fair enough. If you're going for the
you're going 6-2 split against 6-2 split. You're gonna.
That's it.
Yeah.
Go. I like that. I like the out in the box thinking. I really do. Respect
you could see Gatlin doing that as well.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's not prepared to. He's prepared to shake things up. 6-2.
So I've gone Curry, Tiprick, Watson, CJ, and Talupe.
Nice. Kept it nice and concise.
So no one really. I've not gone for any Keelan Doris's or any Sam Simmons. I've gone Talupe and CJ as your 2 8s, and Obviously, Curry as your 7 with Tipperick as your 7, but Curry then obviously might play 6 if he ends up starting, for example.
Hamish can play 7 as well, can he?
And Watson. So, like, have we just gone more physicality rather than looking for out 7s and jackal threats, which Sam Underhill would provide? And I think Sam Underhill is a really forgotten man. Sam Underhill's done nothing wrong. He's not playing himself.
He's been tearing it up for Bath as well, no?
Yeah, if he hits form, there's no reason Sam Underhill doesn't go because he's a very.
I'll be honest. He flew over my head. I'm a bit annoyed with myself.
I don't think Sam hits him. I'm sorry, but Sam Underhill. I'm sorry. No, it's a no from me.
There's no doubt that when he's been in the side, though, he's been absolutely quality.
He's an animal. Like, he's unbelievable. But I don't know. Just like for me, he's better than Hamish Watson's just better form at the moment.
Hamish has just gone step up ever since he's had those little cameos.
He's in that kind of like positive trajectory. So like he's continuing to develop. So, a couple of months down the line, he's even better. So
Zach, you came out with a statement here back in autumn where you said Richie 100% goes. So do you have anything to say about that now? That was your exact words, quoted.
No comment.
But no one taking Richie then?
No. Look, I still stand by my statement, but I would like to premise the fact that without taking into consideration the Six Nations, I think before the Six Nations, I still think Richie goes. But for me, it was always between Richie and Watson, and just Watson was just superb and superior. So Watson goes for me.
I think Richie's got that kind of. He's a bit. He reminds me a little bit of like a second row 6 who doesn't play second row. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Tyburn fills the gap and more. You know what I mean? Tyburn fills that gap, plus he adds a little bit more to the team. And in my opinion, I think he's what's kind of pushed Richie out of the way, and potentially the fact that Watson's kind of shadowed him a little bit in the sense that he's been playing a lot better for Scotland.
And the Six Nations is mainly, there's a common theme that if you do have a big Six Nations, that is enough. I know you've got European Cups and stuff, but Gatland will know his squad now. Realistically,
he'll know like 41 players, and he'll have a couple of them in ours, which will probably be decided through the next couple of months.
So for me, Watson's cert. Then on to kind of the excitement factor, the backs. For me, I don't know about you boys. Picking your 9s, difficult. And it was kind of putting people in just for the sake of filling gaps. I was struggling. I
would say it's probably the weakest area of the team in terms of no one's really like properly in form, but there's a few good players.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, the Six Nations was disappointing in terms of 9s. No one stood up. Well, you could argue Conor Murray came in.
Personally, I actually think, and I don't know what you guys think about this, I actually think Ben Youngs had a really good Six Nations, but I just think because England performed so badly, he kind of got dragged down with them. I actually thought he had a really good Six Nations.
Okay, I'll give you. You know what? I'll give you that. Ben Youngs is done though. Not done.
For me, if you're going,
Ben Youngs starts for the Lions for me. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Starts.
That's the thing. Young starts or Young doesn't go.
That's it. No. He's the typical player where he either starts or he doesn't go.
6-2 split. He'd be the third choice, all right? Leave me alone.
Anyway, I'll start with my 9s then. I have gone Youngs and Murray after saying all that. So Youngs does go as Murray goes, and I couldn't decide. So really hard between Thomas Williams and Gareth Davis or Ali Price, but I've gone Gareth Davis. I've gone more with the experience, and Gatland knows Gareth Davis, and then you just use him as your, bit like Reece Webb, but like I used Reece Webb in 2017, just Gareth Davis off the bench if things are going wrong, just to try things. But he was very poor in the Six Nations, and he needs to have a decent run. Scarlets, they've got Sharks coming up in the European Cup. Like, they could end up having a decent European Cup run, and they got a kind draw. And if Gareth Davis goes well there, I think he definitely goes. But that last 9 jersey for me is up for grabs. I think Youngs and Murray go mainly based off what we've done in the past, but it's up for grabs. And if you're going to put wild cards in, 9 is one that you could throw in. Harry Randall, if he wins the Premiership, or funny thing could happen in there. Being serious, like, because you don't
Ulster in the
have that.
Challenge Cup.
If you've done it, Zach, you can say it now. But John Cooney, obviously, have you done it?
My 9s are Conor Murray. Conor Murray wasn't even go for me until just that England game. I was like, I was reminded of my first love. Conor Murray goes. Gareth Davis, same for you, Telf. The kind of the thought behind that is Gatlin knows him. For me, he's the impact sub coming off the bench, provide a bit of zip and life. I'm a TJ Paranara kind of guy. And my third choice, playing against the Bulls and the Stormers, is John Cooney.
He's done it.
Wow.
Is
Do I honestly think that Gatlin is going to take John Cooney? Not a chance. But I'm thinking more of my heart with this team. For me, there's no standout 9s. Ali Price, Scooby wasn't great. Ben Youngs was all right. Like, there's questions even over Ben Young's start. He is the sort of guy where he either goes and starts, or he doesn't go at all. And there is a gap. And if Ulster go far, John Cooney proves week in, week out that he is unbelievable.
You better hope that Gatlin's got a different personality to Andy Farrell, because Andy Farrell clearly doesn't like him. So
yeah, Andy Farrell. I think Andy Farrell's pressure to put in because
if Andy Farrell's in the backroom team, I'm just saying John Cooney, bye bye.
To be fair, if Andy, yeah, that's a good point. But for me, I think John Cooney. Maybe it's delirium. I don't know, but I genuinely think he is in with the shout. For me, Murray and Davis are certains for me. And that third place, I think, comes down to domestic and European club action. John Cooney could sneak his way onto the plane, especially if Youngs gets injured or Ali Price.
Harvey, though, you can't lie. It's not. It started off as a joke, but
it's gaining traction.
Would you be that surprised if it happened due to the third 9s at the minute?
John Cooney
went as the third choice to go.
No, I'll be honest. If he went, I would be looking forward to it. I genuinely think John Cooney is a really good player. I'm not like trying to mess around with you guys. Like, I actually think this is coming from a non-Ulster perspective here. I think he's actually a really good 9. I just think the odds are so deeply stacked against him that I can't logically put him in the squad just because I can't see it happening. I can't perceive it happening. My 9s, going on to that, is Ben Youngs, Conor Murray, and Ali Price.
Ali Price, explain.
I have done Ali Price. Best of a bad bunch.
Ooh.
That's my price. Gareth Davis, in my opinion, has been carried by the success of Wales. He is half the 9 he used to be. Don't get me wrong. A couple of years ago, he was world class. But if Gatland has any logic or any sense, you look past the fact that he wears a red top when he goes out and plays for his nation. In my opinion, Ali Price, as a third, in my opinion, whoever it is, Gareth Davis or Ali Price, is the third choice 9. And I like the idea of having an Ali Price as my third choice 9.
Here's a question for you, Harvey. Would Gatland get the best out of Gareth Davis because he has got the best out of him in the past?
That's my thoughts.
Potentially, but I'm still going off the logic of no matter what, he's my third choice 9. So it doesn't really matter if you can pull the best out of him, because in my opinion, Ben Youngs and Conor Murray have been better than him. As much as Gatland could easily get the best out of him, don't get me wrong, he's only got a certain amount of time with him, and it takes a lot to bring that back. And I don't know. You could be right. He could pull a miracle with him, coaching masterclass, and we could see the Gareth Davis back. But I've got to base it off what I've seen, and I can't presume that he's going to do that. Because otherwise, we just take the whole Wales squad, past and present.
I get it. I just think for Gareth Davis, he is that sort of guy where he's out of form, but Gat's going to pick him anyway because he knows him and he trusts him.
Don't get me wrong. He's got tons of experience, and he's like, his class is there, like Jamie George in a sense.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Do you know actually Gareth Davis went on the last tour as part of that geographical 6 that came over?
Really?
Yeah, so Gatland clearly does like him at that level. I know they didn't. They basically sat on the bench and made up numbers, but if he had to pick the next call up, he was definitely.
And with the way I'm 6-2 splitting anyway, he wouldn't get featured. So
yeah, no, it's all fair enough. I guess now it's onto the clickbait title, the 10s. No matter what we do here, it's controversial. Is that fair enough?
I think that's fair.
Between where you're from. So if you're Irish, you're going, no, Sexton. If you're Welsh, come on, Dan Biggar should start. If you're Scottish, Finn Russell's the best 10 in the world. If you're English, Farrell was great. So
Farrell's gonna be just putting in performances to get Bedford Bulls and hope Blues and hope it's enough. Okay, I'm gonna start with mine. Johnny Sexton. Where did my sheet go? Oh, Johnny Sexton, Dan Biggar, and Finn Russell. George Ford, you're not good enough. Yep, those. I don't know. I think the controversy comes, Telf, when it's who's going to start and who's going to be on the bench. Who do you leave out? For me, Dan Biggar he's a test match animal. Like, he's just an animal. Finn Russell with all his tricks, he didn't live up to my expectations of Six Nations, but still unbelievable. And Johnny Sexton, I was calling for his head at the start of the Six Nations. By the end of it, I'd ate my humble pie and admitted that he is world class, and he's still got it, and he'll still have it this summer. Will he still have it in 2023? Probably not, but you never know.
You'll notice that the best world class players, Faletau, Murray, Sexton, those boys, when it matters, will perform for you, and Gallen knows that, and they've shown. Leinster coming up, right? Let's put in a performance here.
And the Lions tour is about experience, because in some ways it's about experience in the kind of the big positions. So for me, Ken Owens, 34, 35, 34 going into a Lions tour, first Lions tour. For me, the experience that he has just for playing the game, playing multiple games for Wales, he goes. Alan Wynne-Jones, the experience of the amount of Lions tours he has, and Sexton too, they go. So I'm leaving out George Ford.
Amazingly, though, in July, we all had Ford.
Yep. Yeah.
We did.
But Ford just, you could argue, similar to my reasoning with Ben Youngs, he just got brought down on a sinking ship. Didn't do that bad.
Nah,
but
I disagree. I'm anti George Ford. I think he's the most overrated 10.
How he has over 80 caps for England is beyond me. With the amount of England caps. Here's a question. Actually, no, say your 10s and then I'll ask the question. But
my 10s are, I've taken 2 and only 2.
Yep, he did that in 2013. He could easily do it again. I like that.
Dan Biggar, Johnny Sexton. Enough said.
You
I'm
know
using
what?
my 10 in this team, how I tactically see it working, as the little pivot. And those two as a little playmaking pivot are both world class at it. And the one thing that maybe before the Six Nations I negated from Johnny Sexton and thought, you know what, when the pressure's on, can you match Andre Pollard? Can you sort it out? Was his kicking ability. And this Six Nations, of any, he has proved to me that off a dead ball, that man can hit it. And Dan Biggar is obviously one of the best at it as well. I'm taking them too as my 10s. Enough
to be
said.
fair, I respect that.
And there is still chance, Farrell. Don't worry for listening, Andy or Owen. Sorry, and Andy, you'll be annoyed. Owen can't play centre, so it's not done yet, boys. We'll see if your centers.
Wait and see. Stay tuned.
We shall see.
No, interesting. I respect that, and I agree. 2 world class kickers, 2 10s. Take them.
What about you, Telf?
So I've gone Sexton Biggar as well, and my third choice 10. So the team comes out. This is the Sky Sports headline. No Russell in Gatlin's 36-man squad.
Adam Hastings.
And he's gone. Yeah, I'm going to take Farrell as the third 10.
Really?
Ooh.
Really? Well,
Okay.
you're really thinking with a Gatlin head on.
Bit boring, but I do think Gatlin won't. I just don't see Gatlin being a Russell fan. And
No.
it'll come down to that. And I think Gatlin would have decided that a long time ago. I don't want Russell. And that's going to be the headlines. That's going to be Twitter's going to be blowing up. And I think that's your headline. And it's not me saying I don't want Russell there. I think Russell on ability would start, but that is Gatlin head. And it's kind of
a bit like I relate Finn Russell a little bit to how you relate Ronan Kelleher, in the sense that he's world-class ball in hand. He's world-class open play, but like he's a 10. He kicks. It's your job.
For me, Russell he's my third choice because I think he'll be playing against, the Stormers and the Bulls and the Sharks. Like he won't be anywhere near the match day squad. I think he just goes to
Bring
if
the Bears
anything,
enough to win.
No, but you
Yeah,
need you need
players
your
like him.
midweek players that have a bit of personality. There's a reason James Haskell went in 2017. He was far from that good, but they said a factor that he went was his ability for squad morale and just being a good lad.
Yeah. You
Like,
can
and
see
if that
you can
is
see
if
that
that
with Finn Russell. Finn Russell's going to be the water boy, like opening test.
and if that's the criteria, Gatlin, like get me involved. I am serious crack with a few Guinnesses. But
Here's a question for you. There's a player who is on fire coming off the bench and on fire for his club domestically. Is Callum Sheedy in with the shout? That's the question. Is he within
With the Gatlin head on.
yes, it is genuinely not
doable.
stupid. I think he's next in line. If he's my mentality, I'm never taking Russell. He's not going to listen to my game plan. And Gatlin is this is the game plan. You do the game plan. You win the series. That's why he loves Dan Bigger and Alwyn Jones. So I think next in line in Gatlin's head would be Sheedy. And it only takes one injury. And I do genuinely think, Zach, you could be on to one there. And it worked for Wales. Sheedy could end up, it could be a bigger Sheedy round 2. Not that stupid.
It's a possibility. I think if Sexton, he's carrying a knock going in this weekend of the Championship Cup, but if Sexton does get injured, I think Sheedy for me gets the call up, and then he plays a bigger Sheedy. I still think Russell goes, but he still goes third choice.
Would be a shame for Johnny Sexton. Would be a shame.
Yeah,
I just can't look past Johnny Sexton. As much as I've absolutely slated him on this podcast, and he's been the butt of a lot of. He's been a butt of a lot of my jokes, but. I will continue to eat the pie with Zach. Me and Zach have ordered a nice little humble pie between us, and we're slowly munching on it between him because the 36-year-old or however old he is proven that the legs are still there.
He likes it though. He likes being written off.
He's like a fine wine. He's matured.
He's a James Milner, but better.
Yeah.
Like it's just with picture it, third test, winner takes all, 15 minutes to go. You want Johnny Sexton on that pitch when it's like 5 points in it and he's got a penalty from the 10-meter line. You want Johnny Sexton. He's just a mentality monster. He lives for those moments. He just lives for them.
I love that line, mentality monster, and I agree.
Stick that
definitely keep an eye on Sheedy. He just nailed one there against Harlequins for Bristol.
Yep, last minute. He's got the bottle.
He has the bottle, and if he wants to take people with bottle at 10, She's a dark horse. And another one that was nowhere near us even mentioning. We would laugh if we were saying that. So it's very interesting.
If Bristol go far.
Yeah, in both comps, could definitely see it happening. The next for me is interesting. For me, with the 31-man squad, I don't know about your structure, but for me, it then means not many centers go. I don't know. Did you notice that? Like, there's a lot.
I've got 5. But one of them is, as prefaced before, potentially not just a centre.
Yeah. So I've only got 4.
I wonder who. Cam Redpath.
Marcus Smith.
So my 4 are Henshaw, Ringrose, Jonathan Davis, and George North.
You're taking him as a centre. Interesting. Well, suppose you've taken Farrell.
Yeah.
That is a justification, por favor. How was that? How come tough? How come?
Yeah, so why are you taking
North's not near the test side at 13, don't get me wrong, but midweek 13, George North.
So you're saying then that George North gets nowhere near a match day squad for the test?
It's George North. Like, I think for me, you'll see mine later on. I've gone a bit more exciting off the bench, but I think George North could easily, if you're doing a 6-2 split, be number 23, can cover a wing and
that's good.
So, but I think George North, because his versatility goes. If you want me to say he's going as a winger, he's going as a centre, he's going, and I've put him in as a centre just because I want to take. There's better wingers to take. I think the centres or a bit, because for me, Farrell is going as a 10 for me, but he might play 12. So then that's why North's kind of. So I could say I could take 2 10s and then take North and then take 6 wingers, whatever. But the way I've done it is North's going as a 13 for me, and I could see him play midweek 13, and I could see him come off the bench covering that.
Fair.
Go
I've
on,
gone
Zach.
Henshaw Ringrose as well. Robbie's just, for me, if anything, he's nailed on 12, like maybe.
We'll get on to that.
I'm saying. Henshaw Ringrose, Jonathan Davis, had a decent Six Nations, not his best, but Gatlin loves Jonathan Davis.
You'll have him right
let's all
back in at
remember,
13. He's not a 12. Like Gatlin will know
he's
what
not a
to do with him.
12. Jonathan Davis, especially, it works well. I think you really play Jonathan Davis if you have then a more ball carrying 12, i.e. Robbie Henshaw. But yeah, you got to remember, like, Gats started Davis over Brian O'Driscoll in the third test in Australia 2013. Like, he lives and dies by Jonathan Davis. He's probably called one of his kids Jonathan after him. And then my fourth choice is Owen Farrell. I think he goes as a 12. For me, he's prime candidate for a midweek captain.
As much as that's a joke, I actually agree with that as well.
Yeah, I'm being serious. It was a joke, but also being serious.
My centers, I've taken 5. I've gone Owen Farrell, Gary Ringrose, Robbie Henshaw, George North, and controversially, Henry Slade.
I knew you'd take Slade.
I'm not taking Johnny Davis.
So you're
as much as this is definitely not Gatlin head right now, okay? But I'm not taking Johnny Davis. I'm taking Henry Slade.
So you're taking
Owen Farrell also as a 12.
So who was your 5 again? Sorry, Faz, North, Ringrose, Slade, and
Henshaw.
Henshaw.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Henry Slade, do you see Henry Slade as being a key player in the 23?
No, he's a midweek player.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's honestly, when I look at it now, the formation of it slightly works out a bit skew because North and Slade are a bit kind of blend together a little bit. But George North, I've kind of taken, you'll see why, because I've only taken 4 wingers. So George North can adapt as a winger as well.
Right,
so you will see that later down the line.
Yeah, George North is one of those ones where, he's in the squad. He may be put down in a certain place, but
his experience is undeniable. You can't
he
say
has
that.
To go. He's another mentality monster.
And don't get me wrong, he's played incredible this Six Nations. He's been world class. So, George North for me has to go. In terms of starters, we'll get onto them, but the Irish boys are in very good standing at the moment. I think Gary Ringrose has been always one of my favorites as a 13. Defensively, offensively, whatever you want to say. I think he's world class. And Robbie Henshaw, I've had doubts about recently. Well, not recently. And then recently, I've realized I was stupid. And Robbie Henshaw is a world class player. Ball carrying wise, he's like a hard 12 who could defend. He's just everything. He's really, really good. One I do want to mention, which is a shame, I think a real shame, is Manu Tuolangi.
Yeah.
He's become a bit forgotten in the centre situation because of the amount of injuries he's had, and it's just been a massive faff for him, really. And I feel sorry for him because, in my opinion, if he's fit throughout this, he goes. And
he's fit. He's the best 13 in the world. Simple as that. When he's fit, he's the best 13.
And I think we've really missed him at England. I think we've really missed him. And there's a chance if he can get. I don't know what his recovery is like or whatever, but if he can get back and if he can get in form, you never know. You never know. He could be one of those headline players that gets on the tour because it's Manu Tuolangi at the end of the day.
It's true. No, I think you're right. And Gats loves him. Make no mistake about it. He loves him, so that could play a big factor. And he trusts him. He knows him. He knows what he's like in a tour. He could well sneak in. Do we want to do wingers and then fullbacks?
Yep. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Have you only taken 215?
Yeah.
I'm taking
215.
All right. So we'll just do the wings.
We'll start with wingers. I'm taking 5 wingers. Obviously George North can play as centre if he wants, but probably not. I'm going for George North, Anthony Watson, Keith Earls. I should have left that at the end. Sorry. That was such a pro way to do it. LRZ, Louis Samet, the main man, and Van der Merwe.
Yeah.
those are my boys. I should have left Earls at the end. That's such a bad way to do it. My reasoning for Earls, he's a James Milner. He's a squad player. He's a mentality monster on the
Cracking
training
midweek
pitch.
winger.
He's a cracking, he'll be lining up against the Stormers, living the dream. For me, he gets the nod because I think he's a squad player that could really benefit the squad as a whole. If the reports are true that he is the best trainer in the Irish side, I think, especially with COVID and bubbles and stuff, I think for the young guys like Louis Rees-Zammit, imagine like him rooming with Louis Rees-Zammit. Like that's exciting just for his own development, and kind of keeping seeing on the tour and stuff. So he goes as a kind of key squad player. He's a James Haskell, not for necessarily for the banter, but for the way he trains. And he goes.
Who came close there? Who was your shock?
Shock leaving out.
Yeah.
People could argue Johnny May.
It's not an
Johnny
argument.
May,
That is massive that you haven't put May in, to be honest.
Johnny May just.
Josh Adams as well.
Josh Adams and Johnny May. For me, Josh Adams just hasn't done enough. That might be harsh.
Shouldn't have had that kid. Should not have had that kid.
Yeah, like
Shocking.
it's. Yeah. And then for me also, Johnny May. For me, it was either between Watson or May. I don't think both were going to go. And I think Watson he's a quality player. He's exciting. He's a really good player. Whether or not he'll start or get in the 23-man squad, I'm not sure. But even he's a quality player. So yeah, that's my reasoning. So there you go.
I like that. For me, I've not been as bold with an Earls or anyone. Mine's not overly exciting. So I've gone Louis Rees-Zammit, Duhan van der Merwe, Watson, May, and then the last one up for grabs. I have gone Josh Adams. I think he's come back in. He's scored in both games. He scored in all. He scored against England. He scored against Italy, and he scored against France. He is a try-scoring machine. The man scores tries. He's kind of the forgotten man. He's literally come in after the first 2 weeks and scored in every game and looked sharp and good on the high ball. Good defensive winger. And yeah, I think once again, Gatland heads on. Gatland will take Josh Adams. If it's toss up, James Lowe, Stockdale, all these boys that can't really defend, you're gonna take Josh Adams, who can attack, can defend, is all round. And you're noticing them with all those wingers. They've got a full round. They've got a full skill set on them. They can attack, they can defend, they're going to a high ball. And bowlers like Stockdale and Lowe and stuff just defensively aren't good enough, and that's why they've fallen out. And I'm sure we'll get onto your team, Arvin. I'm sure you haven't really been going into too much Stockdale, Lowe hype.
No.
But it's a shame because I wanted at least one of them to go, but I just couldn't put them in, Zach. I really wanted.
You can't put them in. I was the same. You can't put them in.
No, it's just getting to a stage where I can't put in Jacob, and it's sad. But I just can't. He's nowhere near it. And even if a few back free injuries, I don't think he's even close to getting a call up.
He's not next in line. Like, he's not. Harvey, what's your?
So I've obviously picked four wingers. So my selection's slightly more constrained. You could argue that George North you could just chuck in as a winger to make it a little bit more evened out, I guess. But he's playing 13, so that's that. My wingers, I've gone Johnny May, Anthony Watson, Louis Rees-Zammit, and Josh Adams. No Duhan van der Merwe.
Interesting. To be fair,
the reason I'll give you my reasoning.
Good.
So Johnny May, Anthony Watson, for me, before the Six Nations were starting. Now I think only one of them's going to start, but they still go on the tour for me. I think they're both still two of the best wingers in the Northern Hemisphere. Louis Rees-Zammit has been an absolute starstruck of a player, so you can't argue with that. We've all put him in. The reason why Josh Adams over Duhan, my fourth choice, I wanted someone who's, like a poacher in football. And I think Josh Adams just slightly nicks that for me over Duhan van der Merwe. Slightly. Don't get me wrong. Duhan.
5 tries in 5 games.
Yeah. Duhan. Yeah, but 2 tries in 2 games. So he scored in 3 games out of the 5. He didn't score in every game. You got to, like, when you look at it that way, Duhan van der Merwe, for me, don't get me wrong, has had an incredible set of form. And when he gets going, he is a monster, an absolute monster. But Josh Adams, I'm picking 4, and Josh Adams for me just takes it.
But
He's a better winger in my opinion, in the air, defensively, and he can still run at it and score a ridiculous amount of tries.
you don't think Doohan though? For me, the big thing is your Cheslin Colby is going to be the man.
He's going to step him like it's no tomorrow.
But the opposite direction, Doohan will run over him. I know Colby's a good defender, but come on, you need to be looking at mismatches and physicality. South Africa will come at them with physicality. DLND, big boys just running down channels. And Doohan, for me, not even on the wing, it's when he runs into midfield and say Sexton just gives him a little pop and he can just charge it up. You need his physicality. And for me, his defense isn't good enough, but because his physicality is that good, and because it's South Africa, if we're playing New Zealand, if we're playing Australia, I don't think Doohan goes. I agree with you, Harvey, but because it's South Africa and the USP is their USP is physicality, you have to take him just because of his physicality.
So are you trying to say?
I see it more. Continue, Zach. Continue.
I was just going to say, the way you're chatting, tell he's making your starting 23.
Yeah, I'll get on to it. Don't worry.
You're bringing him there for physicality and okay, that's fine. No, I'm just sorry. However, you continue there.
No, I don't. No matter what, to me, that selection, that person isn't getting into the starting 23 anyway. But I just think Josh Adams is a more well-rounded player. I think that experience, and I think as much as you say, Telf, yes, they have the physical game. I want someone who's an experienced winger who can hold his position and potentially play better defensively, rather than someone who's just going to rely on the fact that they're huge to defend. Because you're playing Cheslin Colby, you can't touch him. You can't touch him. As much as his attack is obviously incredible when he's got ball in hand. He is like a train. I admit that. Don't get me wrong. I've seen it firsthand. It was horrible, but to me, it's not that I'm not convinced. It's just the way the squad's gone and the way I've had to select it. I've not taken him. Sorry, Doohan, if you're out there, lad.
I don't think though. I think you're right about Adams v Doohan. You're spot on there. Like I've taken Adams myself for the exact reasons you took him, and I think Josh Adams, fair play to him. He was under the cosh. Zamet just broke onto the scene, and he just came back in, went on the wing. Liam Williams to fullback, scoring tries, looking sharp. Fair play to him. I think he's really put himself back in the mix because last time we did this, Adams was struggling to get in the side. In terms of fullbacks, I just want to throw out another good quote from Harvey. He said,
Elliot Daly, probably.
He said, I'm going to take out Liam Williams. I'm going to take Jacob Stockdale.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear, Harvey.
That has to be the worst one.
That's far worse. Jamie Ritchie's still in with a shout.
I never even backed him as a 15. What was I chatting?
Oh, mate, Harvey, you've had a mare there. Like
I'm pretty sure Liam Williams had been injured for a long time at that point, so he was kind of out of sight, out of mind. Right. Leave me alone, all right? Wait, don't forget, before the Six Nations, Wales were crap, all right? Just base it off that. Right.
It's true. I'll give you that.
That's why I've loved how we've done it in stages, just to see the progression. Like Bundiaki was in mine and Sam Johnson.
Right, I'll start with my 15s this time.
Hogg.
Controversially, Liam Williams, Stuart Hogg. I don't think any of us are going to go anywhere different from that. When it comes to the first 15 is where it's going to get interesting.
I feel like Telfer's going to go somewhere else.
Telfer's going to go. I can see Hugo Keenan already. But yeah, I'm honestly just going to offload it to you two. Fire away because
I'm going with you, Harvey. I'm going Williams Hogg. Because for me, I'm taking a 5-3 split, but Williams for me is on the bench with Hogg. I know we're going to get into it, but like for me, Williams, because he can play on the wing, I think he's going to be. I think Williams has an important part to play, but it's not as a starter.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone Williams Hogg. Nothing.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to go halfpenny.
No, but all I'm going to say is this is my squad. Don't want to be on here sound like an idiot. Don't be surprised if he takes Williams as a winger and doesn't take Zamet and takes halfpenny. Yeah, because at the end of the day, he's going down there to win a tour in South Africa. Could Zamet choke? Potentially. Would Lee halfpenny choke? No. So
technically there's also one area we forgot about is the fact that the Lions will be playing in like super high altitude. Halfpenny could start. like because of his goal kicking ability, Halfpenny could just
Don't
start.
write Halfpenny off because he's
you can't write him
another
off.
one of
You
those
can't.
weird ones that will always just put a few performances together. And Gatland, as you've seen, will make bold calls and he will just want to win the series. He won't care about picking wonder kids and all for media. He will. But me personally, I want Zamet to go, but I'm just putting it out there. Don't be surprised if he goes with a boring choice like Keith Earls over Zamet or someone like that, just so he knows that he's going to get the job done.
Well,
I guess
that's our squad, gentlemen. That's our 36-man squad for the
How
Lions.
do you want to do the starting team? Just
21.
call out your starting team and then go from there.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Delph, do you want to go first? I'm just going to write them.
Yeah,
Go 1 to 23 for me, or 1 to 2015, and then go for subs.
Right. Yeah, full 23. Right. Wyn Jones, Ken Owens, Furlong, Itoje, Alwyn Jones, Curry, Tipperick, Falatau. I love that back row. I love the balance in it. I know that's controversial, but for me, I love it. And that's a bit of a Gats head with Tipperick and Falatau. You have them as a combo. I think that's why Falatau plays so well, is because of Tipperick. So I think you have to start them both. Curry's too good not to play. Murray, Sexton, Henshaw, 9, 10, 12. I think it is a bit Irish bias, but when you add it up and you think who's in form 9, who's the inform 10, who's the inform 12, and I want that Murray Sexton combo over like if Youngs and Sex. It just I like the Irish axis, and then Johnny Davis 13. Gatlin knows him. Has to be that, and that's exciting. Henshaw, Johnny Davis is very exciting. And then back freeze where I've gone a wee bit audacious. I've gone Stuart Hogg fullback, big surprise. Anthony Watson on the one wing, being the most consistent winger. And I've gone Duhan van der Merwe for his physicality on the other wing. And this is my reasoning on the bench. I've gone... Where's my bench? I've gone Jimmy George, just because it'll be him or Karen Dickey, whoever's playing better at the time. But I think George, just because he's more of a big match player, he'll get the nod. Mako and Sinclair, two good players to bring off the bench. Like, think about that. That's the English front row coming off your bench. James Ryan and Tyg Byrne. So I'm going a
6-2 split. No, you're not. Sorry, ignore me.
I'm going 2 second rows, so you can change the full engine room, bit like South Africa did, or you can bring Tyg Byrne on at 6. I think Tyg Byrne plays a good role there when people are fatigued, getting in Jacqueline. But as I said before, don't be surprised. I really wanted to put Hendo in, but I just couldn't. But Hendo could easily find himself in that instead of Tyg Byrne if they're going to go full physicality v physicality. Then I'm going to go Gareth Davis for impact. Owen Farrell for versatility. I don't think he's that bad that he doesn't make the 23, but I think he's dropped out of the starting lineup because of Henshaw. And then I'm going to go, everyone's fatigued. Duhan's been hitting Cheslin up all day. You bring on Louis Rees-Zammit with 20 minutes to go with fatigued legs, and you let the kid run.
Fair enough.
Harvey?
So I've gone Jones, Owens, Furlong, front three. I think that's pretty fair enough. I think as I pointed out with the BBC's polls earlier, that's probably a very popular front three. I've gone Alwyn Jones, Maritoje, my engine room. My back three, following the similar lines to Telf, but I picked Navidi instead of Tipperick, so I've gone Curry, Navidi, Falatau. That's my back row.
You love Navidi.
I do. Very powerful, very just, in your face. And like you say, Curry's too good. And the back row of Wales, honestly, is just incredible. So you could pick any of them in a way.
It's a good back row.
I've gone Youngs at 9. Personally, the reason why I've gone Youngs at 9,
big call.
As much as Murray is incredible at the box kicking and kicking in general, for me, he has an issue recently of just becoming too stagnant. And I think an issue that Ireland have had particularly recently in terms of their attack has been the pace of their attack. As much as you guys have outpowered a lot of teams and that's how you've won a lot of games, it's South Africa. at the end of the day. That won't work as well. And sometimes you need a little bit. I think Youngs is a good mix between someone who can do the unpredictable, a little chip, a little whatever, a little snipe, but he can also play the game well. And I think that's why, for me, he starts ahead of Murray.
Yeah, you're a big Youngs fans. Fair enough.
That's fair. It's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that.
I've then gone, Telf, to and Zach, to appease your Irish bias. I've gone Sexton, Henshaw, Ringrose. 10, 12,
Ringy.
13.
Wow.
Ringy is playing. Well, I didn't take Davis. I'm playing Ringy.
Oh yeah,
I'm
fair
playing the Sexton, Henshaw, Ringrose. Okay, quality players. Johnny Sexton has been world class. Henshaw, prove me wrong, is incredible, and Gary Ringrose is Gary Ringrose. My wingers: Anthony Watson, Louis Rees-Zammit. I'm letting the boys fly. I am letting the boys fly. I don't care. 20 minutes, I don't care. We've seen Louis Rees-Zammit 80th minute in 5th gear run the whole pitch after an intercept and not even look close to being intercepted or tackled. Their boy has got an engine. You don't need to bring him on after 60. You can bring him on at 0, and then mine will run forever. So he's playing for me and Anthony Watson because, like Telf said, most consistent, cracking player. The bomb diffuser.
Really? Wow.
Liam Williams is starting for me.
Okay.
Stuart Hogg, you're an incredible player. But I'm going to put my Gatlin head on right now. And Liam Williams, for me, has been, in this Six Nations, one of the best players in the Six Nations. And he is world class. As apart from the one little error he made with the sin bin, for me, he starts. Okay?
What about Williams on the wing instead of Zammit and Hogg fullback for you if you're going full Gatland?
No. Louis Rees-Zammit.
We got to remember here that Hogg was
Hype
going to be
train.
starting for the Lions in 2017 before he got that injury. And then the bomb diffuser came. So Gats does like him.
Liam Williams, for me,
he's a quality player.
Don't get me wrong. Stuart Hogg's incredible ball in hand. But I think Liam Williams as a defensive 15 is just incredible.
Also,
One of the we've seen some of the crazy stuff that man's done. Just clutch moments after clutch moments. And I think we need that in a Lions team.
No, definitely.
6-2 split on the bench.
Oh, he's gone.
Once again, English front row on the bench. So
Yep,
Mako,
yeah,
Luke Kandicki, and Carl Sinclair. I've then gone James Ryan, Tide Burn. Who would have known? I've also put on the bench CJ Stander. The reason, those three cover all those positions. They cover pretty much everything. And you can swap out whatever's weakest. You have versatility right there. You have options. There's a chance that Curry's going to play forever. So you can slot Curry into 7 if you want. Bring CJ on at 6 if need be. If not, bring him on at 8. It doesn't really matter. Tide Burn can also go into 6 and he can go in the engine room. James Ryan is obviously an engine of an engine. So that's why I'm going those 3. 6-2 split, because I think we need that against South Africa. That's why I'm doing it. My 22 and my 23. Dan Bigger. Clutch moment after clutch moment after clutch moment. He's coming on and he is kicking the winner. And then my 23, George North. George North is coming on.
So you don't
Stuart
have a scrum
Hogg
half on the bench?
is not in the front 23. No, I don't.
So
who was that? So you said
Screw
North's
it.
coming on.
Who cares? What?
Who was your 23 again?
George North.
George North. He's there. Impact player.
He can come on at 13. He can come on the wing. You can swap him. Do whatever you want.
And you want to talk about physicality. George North has physicality in abundance.
So yeah, controversial. No 9. No Stuart Hogg in the front 23.
I don't think anyone's ever picked a team with no 9 on the bench, but usually if you were going 60 split, Harvey, you wouldn't put a 10 on the bench. That's how you do it, and you'd put someone that can.
You can put Conor Murray in his position then. Because I've only, put Conor Murray there instead then. Put Conor Murray at 22 and play George North.
Yeah, that'll work.
Back Sexton.
Fair enough.
And worst case scenario, Murray can play 10. He has played it before. So that's the whole thing about a 6-2 split. You need to have worst case scenario, and it actually could work.
The other controversial thing, I haven't put Owen Farrell on my front 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough.
I'm sorry, Owen, if you're out there, lad. But
it's crazy how sport can change, isn't it? We were captaining him. He was our captain back in July.
Yeah. But that's what I've gone for. Zach, what about you?
I really like it.
So I'm just actually figuring out my bench. Same front 5. Wyn Jones, Owens, Furlong. I told you Alan Wyn Jones. Alan Wyn Jones to be my captain.
Same for me.
6. That's where it gets funky. Tagburn. I don't know, beast. 7, Curry. And I think he definitely has to start back row. I have Toby Falatau, and then I've gone Murray at 9, Sexton at 10, Henshaw and Davis in the centre partnership. My reasoning for that is I think they work. Davis is more of a ball playing 13, kind of Henry Slade type figure. So you need to kind of balance that out with a Henshaw, more kind of up in your face.
I love that center combo. I've done it myself. I just I want to see it.
It is a sexy combo. Like, back 3, I've gone Hogg 15. I've gone Louis Sammet on the right. Although I can concede that it could well be an Anthony Watson. And I've gone George North on the other wing for physicality because Gats absolutely loves him. I don't think he'll trust Van der Merwe, but I think he trusts George North.
That's why he's on my bench. That's why he's making the moments.
You think like Sexton, we pop pass off the kind of thing, just George North just going for it.
Similar idea then to what I'm thinking, but you think Gats won't trust. And I agree. I think Duhan's defense isn't good enough, but I just think you'll see it on the tour, and then he'll be one of those that he cannot start. He cannot start the minibus, but he will definitely go physicality. That's why I think Zamet's not a dead cert. I don't know if I'm being...
Zamet's not a dead cert. If anything, I'm thinking with my heart rather than thinking with my head in that sense. But for me, Zamet either starts or he doesn't make the bench for me. He either starts or he doesn't, or to get nowhere near it. So where am I at here? The replacement front row is Cowan Dickey, Mako, and Sinclair. Remember, I didn't take Jimmy George, so that's the reason Cowan Dickey's in there. Mako and Sinclair, like, that is quality coming off the bench, experience coming off the bench as well. Engine room man is James Ryan, singular, just him coming on. I've then gone for CJ Stander at 20 because he can play 8 and he can play in the back row. There's your versatility, so you can kind of cover all eventualities. Sorry, Hendo, you didn't get the call up. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't fit you in. And then I've gone for Gareth Davis coming off the bench. I've gone for Owen Farrell 22 because he can. This was a hard one for me because Owen Farrell, it's between him and Dan Bigger. Because to be honest, Saxton is probably going to get injured during the game. He's going to come off. Like, that is inevitable. So who you have as a 10 on your bench is so important. So I'm split because a part of me thinks, if he needs to really mix it up, he can bring on Farrell and take off Henshaw and play 10-12. Or he could bring on Bigger because Saxton inevitably will get injured or get concussed or something. So it was a close one. Farrell gets the nod because he can play 12 and can therefore, not because he can cover Henshaw if he gets injured, but because they can change the game a bit and change the kind of the way they're playing. And then number 23, I've gone for Liam Williams because I think he can cover 15 and he can cover the wing. So versatility again. And for me, he comes on with even 30 minutes to play, you could argue, because he's that good. But it's the impact side of him which excites me. So that is my 23.
All of our 23s, that's why lines is so good. You could see them all happening. Like, for me, for Liam Williams not being in my 23, I would not be surprised if he starts.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's one of those that it is small margins on Lions tours, and I'm sure from now to the squad announcement, things will change. Big injuries, players not hitting, players are not in form. But for me, it's mental that Johnny May and Farrell, Daly, those boys were dead certs and won Six Nations.
Elliot Daly didn't even get a mention today from any of us.
Yeah.
He's so far off it.
There's just no way.
It's honestly crazy.
Daly's left shoe though, altitude. That's
the only thing. That's the only thing.
I've got. You could argue that my Henry Slade could be Elliot Daly. That's the.
Yeah, that's true.
That's 65 meters, but nah, he will make some bold.
He'll take Lee Halfpenny if he's going to.
I didn't want to be boring, but I could see him just being like Hogg, Williams, Halfpenny, Jonathan Davis. He could just down bigger. He could be boring and just, but Gatlin knows. In Gatlin,
there's a strong chance that Dan Bigger starts.
Yeah, this is the thing. Dan Biggar could end up starting because A, Johnny could get an injury, and B, Johnny just might not be at the races. Like you're right, Telf. Like it could go either way. Like Louis Rees-Zammit may not even make them match day 23.
May not even go.
It isn't. He might not even
Louis
go.
Rees-Zammit needs to continue to grow. That's the thing. I think the thing with him and Duhan van der Merwe, they both need to now take the Six Nations and push on because they've had kind of the breakthroughs internationally, and they now need to go and tear it up even more to prove that they are actually worth it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're looking at them like
agree.
they're going on the tour, but we got to remember at the start of the Nations, it was debatable. Duhan obviously a lot more than Louis Rees-Zammit, but
Now, when I look back, we all said Duhan in the autumn, so we got on the hype pretty early, and he's gone.
Yeah, we did. No, we did. We did pretty early. No,
Zammit was the only one that came out of absolutely nowhere. Him and Sheedy would be the two that would be. So if you were going to go, just to final sum it up, if you were to go complete bolter, someone that nobody's talked about, who would you pick?
that
That's a good
nobody's
question.
talked about.
I wish I didn't say Callum Sheedy then.
You can no,
Jack
still-
Conan. Jack Conan.
Jack Conan, and you can still go Callum Sheedy because it's fair enough.
I'll go Callum Sheedy. Also, I was gonna say Marcus Smith, but he hasn't done enough. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Callum Sheedy.
And I think you know who I'm going to say. Hugo Keenan. Solidity. And if one of those happens, boys, fair play. But you got to throw an audacious one out there. But yeah, we'll won't do our predictions and all because we've got plenty of time for all that. But remember to like, subscribe, comment below what you think of our starting teams, comment below what you think of our squads. Big pod there, boys, but we could have done this for 2-3 hours. Lions is everything.
It is everything.
Exactly.
It's the pinnacle.
Exactly.
But cheers anyway, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Ciao.